Hi, this is Susan. I'm here to talk to you about counters today. And I'm starting one, so I want to just go ahead and discuss it with you because I know you're going to want this. You're going to want this. So, this is the one that I got from Whitney off her site on eBay. Whitney LaBrie's Events, I think is what it is. And of course, this is, the counters, there's closed in counters and there's open counters. Now, the problem with this to me is see how much shadowing when I turn it this way? Don't mind my hair on it. There's so much shadowing, and it's narrow. You're not going to see the food or anything really that is put there. So, and this one I don't guess has doors on the back side of it. Haven't even gotten it out. So anyway, so you want one that you can see all your miniatures. You don't want to work so hard on your miniatures you don't see them. So this is out of my bakery. And funny thing is, you remember these from Michael's? Let's see, I would love it if one of these had a price tag because these were in the late 90s. Here's the top. Oh, it's torn off. Oh, wait. Here's something. They cost like $2 or something. They were so cheap. It doesn't have the price, darn. But they were so cheap. $2, $3 at the most. And then I've got pieces that I've taken off. So, like, there was about 3 or 4 different designs. And so I took part of 2 of them that, are in pieces. This one I haven't scavenged yet. No, this may actually be the bottom of this. This may be the bottom. Maybe I had 2 of them. And then I put drawers in. It looks kind of like it. But this one, they actually open. This opens. So I think there was about 4 designs. Because I used one that was a cabinet in the Easter spring room to put toys in it. So anyway, I see these in auctions on eBay. There'll be big lots of things, and I'll see these. And I just laugh because those were like $2, $3 at the most. Okay, so I took this drawer off of one of them, and then this section off another. And I don't know if I put the false doors in because it looks like it's off that one. But you can see the line here, which actually, this is not so bad. I should have put trim along here and did just a decorative trim. But this was my very first room box, and this was before I ever started selling miniatures. I was just building doll houses and made my own room box. Excuse me. And so these were just things that I found probably at Hobby Lobby. These things, and then made things, or I added them later because this was, like I said, my first room box. So this fits in fine. It's all good, but I've made so many cakes, especially like these cakes. I'm just so proud of them. I think, I've got to make a whole new piece of furniture to put those in. And so this doesn't have any way to show. So as much as I love that, I'm going to remake. But let me show you the beginning of this. If you've seen my boutique, which is the worst video ever because I didn't know anything about filming and the boom kept falling. And at the very end of the video, the boom just falls off the table. So it's a really awkward is the best word, video. But it has great content. And this is the counter. And you can see I use the fan blades that I've used in other videos. And I use it throughout the whole room box and for decoration. But I wanted to show you because this is what we're working with. And I have had such a struggle finding these. Now, the lady that presented using these to us, Kendra, I recall her saying she got them at the Container Store. Now, I didn't go to the Container Store to see if they had more of them. They used to put paper clips in these. And these two came off of Temu, and they are called acrylic candy box. And this was the closest I could find. And they, with the top on, they are 1 3/4. Let's see, 1 3/4. So I guess it's just 1 3/4 square. So, but they go by millimeters. So make sure you know if it's not there by inches, it's 45 millimeters. So these make really, cool counters, and the light gets through them, and so that's even better. Look at this one. It has like a fuzz in the acrylic. I've never seen that. It's got an actual piece embedded in the acrylic. So, but the only problem is, see, these have this right here and it may be on all of them, that's just, it's, so you can't put it forward. You can't like take the lid off and put your food in forward. So it has to go in sideways. Now in the dress shop, in the boutique, it's great for it to be in sideways. It's fine. Doesn't change it at all. It seems a little weird in the food, but well, we'll just do it the same. We'll work with it that way. So I had to come up with a chunk of wood for the base, and then a bigger piece here for the base. Now you could like just do a square base, but you're going to have to use more wood to cover. It seems like I just had a chunk of wood here and a chunk of wood here. And then this is the thin pieces, 2 thin pieces. And then this is just the coffee stir sticks, the skinny coffee stir sticks around these sides. And then this is covering up where these boxes were bigger. And this one, let's see how big those are, because they were just butted up to each other. And so with the lid, the lid was bigger. So I'm thinking this was like a 3.5-inch box, tall. And let's see if I can figure out where to measure. 1 5/8, maybe just over 1.5, somewhere close to 1 5/8 square. But it did have like it was bigger than this tiny skinny one, so it stuck out more. So when I was looking for them, I didn't realize that till I found the lids recently, and I was like, oh, that may be why I wasn't finding them, is they came out to about right there. So these were really good. And I remember my mom having a smoky colored one that had paper clips in it. So if you can find them, these came off Temu. The only thing is, I realized when I started working with them, they're slightly tapered, just ever so slight. So when you stick them back to back, they want to fall down. So you're going to need to adjust, put a piece of wood under or on the top, or something under supports it, or even put, clear glue or something that let it dry, and then it'll sit up on that. Something to adjust for the taper. It's only slight. It's not terrible. It's hard to even notice it, but it does make them kind of fall downward. And you don't want that, because you've got to get it straight across the top to put your top layer, if you're going to do a top layer. It depends on, like I said, more light gets in it. Like this one has no top layer. But with a counter in a bakery, you really need the top layer. So this is what I've come up with. And I want to tell you also some things. If you don't have chunks of wood, you don't have a way to saw chunks of wood, and you're just using, your craft knives. I've got this, and I've got this to saw things, that I'm using Jenga blocks. Now, they aren't easy. This is hard wood. It's not a soft wood usually. If you look through them and find one that has less of these marks on it, it is softer. And I've used those before to cut with trying to use this. If you have that, but look for the ones without the marks. See, this one has less of marks, but there's some that are even less, lighter colored, and like that one. Anyway, you have this option. And then I forgot that I had, let me show you these. I forgot all about having these. I got at Five Below, and they're very lightweight. They may not be a hard wood. And so I wanted to show you that this looks cute for a riser. If you're making baked goods and things, or anything that you want to put on a riser, you could, double these up and get the nicest section of riser to display. But these would work for, putting them end to end. And you probably know to save your wood shavings, when you're sanding things or cutting things. Save them, and then you put glue and pack these into holes and gaps in your seams. And then you can sand that down, and it literally joins your pieces together pretty good, to where the paint, when you paint over it, it won't show. And you can also fill like screw holes and things, nail holes, anything you mess up. But so you got these were Five Below. It was a box of them. The Jenga block, tall box, for $5. So I guess it's still the same price. So that's an option of things to have and use. Of course, this is the Dollar Tree. It's $1.50 for, it's called the Tumbling Tower Game, and it's got 72 blocks. So you know how much I use those. And then the other thing that you can use to get height and things is paint sticks, because they're kind of wide. They're good, I can cut this one easily with a craft knife. This one is the thicker one, and you could cut these and stack them, or you could, have them this direction and cut them. They're a little bit more challenging. You'll need to use your little craft saw. So those are, ways not to have to use a table saw. I have a little mini table saw I got off of Temu, and I've really enjoyed it. Okay, so here's my adjustment piece. So let me just start from the beginning. Okay, so I did 2 rows of the Jenga blocks. And the way they fit together is how, whatever size you get, is how I was figuring that they would fit together. Then I cut this piece out of just my craft. These are strips I get from Hobby Lobby. And they have a bag. If I've told you about the bag before, that, let me grab the bag, because it can be a good value. The bag can be a good value here. But it used to be on the sale, and now it's got the one price, and it doesn't go to a sale. These yellow stickers are just that set price. But it's basswood, and it's got all kinds. Each package has different configurations of the little pieces. So these have some good 1/4-inch trim in them. So I always look and see what they've gotten in. This has really a combination of a lot of skinny ones and little tiny and wider. And then the pieces of wood can be thicker and thinner. And then sometimes you even get corrugated. So if you're at a Hobby Lobby, go look for that, because it is a good deal. I think even though I used to get it $8.99 on the sale, but even though they've set it at the set price, it's still not a bad deal. Okay, so I beveled. You want to bevel this. And now see the difference in this one. It was plain, and then I took some trim, just some flat trim, And then I took the 2 pieces of wood here. Gosh, I'm losing my voice. Excuse me. It's been rainy and that brings out the mold, and I'm allergic to mold. So, guess I'm going to lose my voice. Okay, so I've got the skinny layer, the thicker layer, and it's sitting on top of, oh no, it's not. This is actually a false bottom. So then this trim is holding up the base. Now this was one piece. I guess that's what she gave us, and then I added this to look, more decorative. Okay, the other thing is I grabbed some dolls. Now, these are the German dolls, I think. So these are maybe a little shorter. The man's supposed to be like 6 foot, would be 6 inches, and the woman would be 5.5, say, on average. And so she is, let's see, she's only about 5.25. So I made it a little bit tall, maybe not. I mean, it does have the decoration, so I guess not too tall. The decoration in it. So you want to keep in mind how tall your dolls are. Now, in bakery counters, I noticed they're tall. It's like they're taller than putting your arms up on it, or definitely putting your purse on the counter. And maybe they like it like that, so you won't put your purse on the counter. So then I have 3 Jenga blocks here, which I did have to sand a whole bunch and cut, some off to get them to fit at this point to be on each side of this. Okay, so here's this. Here's this. Now, mind you, I said, see how it dips down? So I have a choice of either putting this under the piece, and let's see how much it shows. But as my grandfather said, you don't see it on a bucking mule. And so I think that's such a funny saying. So there's a way to raise it up if yours is tapered. Or if you put it at the top, it's going to be under the top piece and it won't show at all. So that's what I'm going to go with. Because I think, okay, now the other thing that you have to choose, what kind of counter determines whether this is the thick piece and the thin piece. The thick piece is beveled and the thin piece just sits on top of it. And so, do you do it this direction, like on a desk, or do you do it this direction? And so, I believe on a counter, it would go that direction. So, this is what I've come up with. And I wanted to go ahead and show it to you before I start gluing it up. And then I'm planning, because it's not a decorative boutique or anything, I'm not going to get all fancy with the decoration. That's a little crooked. But I can cut it out. I can, glue it up. So I'm just going to go around with the coffee stir sticks and, put them on the ends. And I was thinking about putting them here the way I did on the other counter. Maybe not, and I think that might be fine, just either up there or maybe come down and meet the bottom piece. Maybe just something simple. But I'm not getting it into the decorative trim or the fan blade or anything because it's just a bakery. So, that's more utility use, not decorative. So, this is what I've come up with. And so I wanted to glue it up, but I wanted to share it with you before I covered everything. So I hope that you can find these acrylic boxes. Because I ordered these off Temu, they come in all different sizes, but you'll want to look for acrylic candy box is how they describe this one. But now that I know that this one had a bigger top on it, I might be able to find it easier. But keep in mind the taper. Always look for, when you're looking at them, look for, I would put small candy box or small office acrylic box or something. But look and see if it's tapered, because the more the taper, the harder it's going to be to use it. And then if you have a Container Store around you, then that's where she got them originally, but that was like 10 years ago. So they might still have them. I mean, that's their job, is to handle containers. So it's just a container. So I'll have to shoot by one if there's still one around. So thanks so much for coming by, and I hope that you can make a counter too. And if you haven't seen this boutique, it's not a great video, but it's such great content. This is I tell you about my grandmother a little bit, and the way that she would dress for church. And so that is what this is all reminding me of. And when I was making things, these are things that she would have worn. And so these are even her glasses right there. I got them on Temu. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my grandmother's glasses. So this is so fun. This is such a great counter for a boutique. So come back and see me. I'm going to do another food video to finish up that series. Okay, bye-bye.